Why am I even gonna bother to... Oh, hi, I'm Steve from Mac84, and today we're gonna, I guess, try and fix this thing. Oops. I swear I'm good with computers. Let's just... This here is a Dell Inspiron 3252, or at least it was. It's kind of in a lot of pieces right now, and let me explain why. Recently, a neighbor told me that their computer was acting quite slow. So I told them when they have some time, I'll take a look at it. That was a few months ago, and since then, the hard drive, well, it decided to die. So they turned on their computer one day and they got some Windows recovery screen thingamajig, which I knew was bad news. But I said, hey, I'll take a look at it and see what I could do. So that's how this thing came into my possession. And unfortunately, it wasn't a straightforward fix. When they handed me the computer tower, I noticed it was very light. And I was like, that's strange. Usually these things are a bit heavier. And I was sort of surprised to find out why. It's because the logic board is basically like a laptop motherboard or something like that. I mean, it has laptop memory on it. It has sort of a low profile processor, except you have some desktop level I/O, and that's really about it. But what's missing from the case is the power supply. And so they use a laptop power supply to power the thing. Makes a lot of sense, I guess, if you're reusing parts or something like that. So this thing was like, weighs nothing. It weighs the amount of the logic board or motherboard and the hard drive and the optical drive. But it's the first time I've seen something like this, so I thought that was kind of interesting and strange at the same time, and sort of explained why it was kind of slow and underpowered. But puny hardware aside, they were more concerned about the data on their hard drive. Unfortunately, they didn't have a backup. Quick PSA about old hard drives: make sure your family and friends have their important data backed up. You don't want to have to go through what I'm about to go through. Also, there are a lot of free stuff out there, like stuff built into your operating system or open source download solutions that help you back up your data. Whether it's to a cloud or a local storage solution, make sure you have something set up. It's better to be safe than sorry. But sadly, in this case, there was no backup, so I was going to have to try and recover the data from this old clunky hard drive, which was already making some sad noises. So I plugged the hard drive into my PC to try and recover some files on it. And while that was happening, I decided to take a look at the hardware of the system. It's some no-name Pentium quad-core chip in there. It's not some i5 or anything like that. And I was just wondering if it's decent enough for them to continue using as a regular computer, especially if I put some solid-state disk in there or something like that. So I plugged in a blank SSD, and there's a Windows 7 disk already in the CD drive, and I turned the system on, and the lights came on, but nothing came on the screen. So I was curious what was happening here, and I decided that, well, maybe it's the BIOS or something like that, or the clock battery is retaining some weird video setting or whatever. So I tried to reset it a few times, nothing happened, and I decided I'm going to open it up and fix this. And so I opened it up, and lo and behold, I found a coin cell battery right here. If I removed that, hopefully it would reset the settings of the BIOS, and I'd be able to get some video out of this system. So here's what happened with that. So, silly me, while I was trying to remove the battery from the board, it flipped up and landed on an unpopulated capacitor pad. And although the system was off, it was plugged into that power adapter, causing it to get very upset, blowing a nice hole through the Ethernet chip on the other side of the board. So this of course put me in a bad position. I wanted to still fix up a computer to give to them. Thankfully I did have a Dell Optiplex that was just sitting around. That was probably faster than this thing anyway. And if I could recover some of the data, that was a bonus, but either way they'd have a computer that they could use. But what to do with this motherboard? It might work, maybe, but there's a hole blown through that Ethernet chip, and I got to thinking, maybe I could just replace that chip. So I had a chat with my good friend Colin from This Does Not Compute. We do an exclusive Patreon supporter podcast on each of our channels, so if you subscribe to either of our Patreons, you get exclusive access to that podcast. Anyway, during our chat, we were talking about this computer, and he said, well, you could just replace the chip. And I said, if you could find the chip, I'll replace it. And he found the chip. The problem was that the chip with shipping was more expensive than a whole logic board for this computer. So guess which option I purchased? That's right, I just bought a whole new logic board. Why? because who knows if there's anything else that blew up on this thing. The Ethernet chip was clearly damaged, but it could have damaged something else. So at least this way, I have a spare board that I could put in here, and then this board, I could always remove the Ethernet chip, see if it works. I haven't powered it on since that incident, but at least hopefully I have a spare motherboard that could just get this thing up and running again. The only thing that new motherboard didn't come with was the memory. Thankfully this does include memory, 8 gigabytes too, so that's not too bad. And I think we have to remove the heatsink and the fan. So let's open that box and see what it came with. We have a hole in the box, that's a good sign. Oh good, they went with a Pro Static bag. Something rattling in here. That's a good sign. Oh, a free screw. Yeah, so just to show, these are identical boards. The model number is the same, everything is the same, and so we're just gonna swap over that heatsink and hopefully this one will spring to life. I don't really care about thermal paste at this point, I just wanna see if this board works. So we're just gonna swap this over, screw this down, and we'll worry about cleaning that up later. It's interesting to note on these boards that there are quite a number of unpopulated chips and areas. So it's very clear that they probably used this board for other purposes. Maybe they kitted it out with different options and other things like that. But there's quite a lot of empty pads here, so that is interesting. Let's install that memory as well. Now I guess we could put this thing together and see if it wants to work. I hope it does. All right, so now it's time to install the optical drive here, which I think goes like this, kind of. Nah, wait, yeah, something like that. The logic board is now installed inside of the computer. I am curious if we'll get any signs of life or any image on the screen. I sure hope so, because this board should be working. All right, well, here we go. Let's plug it in and see if it does anything. Well, I think I heard the fan go on. There's a light on the logic board. The fan isn't spinning, but the optical drive is. Help if I turn the monitor on, I guess. Yeah, the fan is not spinning for the processor. That's strange. I mean, I assume it works. There's some settings here on the logic board. There are these little jumpers. Apparently if I move them around, I could clear the password for the BIOS, but I don't think that's it. But let's just plug this in and try it again. Let me just like push the button on the front. Oh, now the fan spins. What kind of weird mode was that where only the CD drive was working? Let's see if we get any picture on the screen. No picture, but this is what was happening with the other logic board. Maybe it's just like some weird thing, I don't know. Maybe this one was used to HDMI. Powered down, fan went off, now the fan's on again. What kind of crazy crap is this? There's no sensor on some of these machines. There is. Oh, there we go. Now we have a picture. I was about to say there's no sensor for the lid being on or anything, so it's not that. But we get a Dell screen, so that's good. It's a little hard to see here, probably for you as well, but at least we did get some sort of picture. And now, nothing. Okay. Well, I'd say it works, maybe? Let's get into the BIOS. Come on. What a weird machine. Let's eject that disk. Maybe it doesn't like it. I mean, it's the Dell Windows whatever installed on your PC disk. So, you know, Windows 7 Home Premium SP1 64-bit. So that should work, but I do have some USB drives we could try out. But let's just reboot this thing without a CD. And let's just see if we could get into the BIOS or something like that. Because we were getting something on the screen. Now it's quiet. Okay, I see the light on the monitor blink. Okay, CMOS checksum error. Well, that's great. But it does say it's an Inspiron 3252, the same model number that was on this case. Now, I don't know if you could see that there, but it does say the system BIOS number version is 213.0. And then we have a service tag and a build number and all this stuff. I guess I could plug a mouse in. Sorry, I know this is not the best angle for either of us, but let's go to BIOS setup here. Maybe it's just because there's no battery in this thing. And it's not entering the BIOS? Oh, there we go. My goodness. All right, so this is an Intel Pentium CPU N3700, 1.6 gigahertz. Oh, that's slow. And it is recognizing the 8 gigabytes of memory. So we got that going for us at least. I will say it's a nice little quiet system. Looks like it turns on and then like waits for a second, then turns on again. Maybe it's doing some check, or maybe it doesn't like that, it doesn't have a battery in it. I'm not going to waste a $1 battery on this thing. I've already wasted $11 on this thing. There we go, Dell. All right, let's just like spam that. CMOS check some error. Yeah, let's do diagnostics. There's a diagnostics button on the bottom. Let's just click that. Initializing PCIe. Okay, well, system appears to be having trouble starting. Dell Support Assist is scanning your hardware for possible cause. Okay. Sure, tell me what's going on. It's going to take 2 minutes and 55 seconds to do a check. Okay. Oh, I'm just catching up on some YouTube while we wait for that progress bar. My friend John of the Big Bad Biologist Big Bad Bench is streaming, and he's repairing some CRT or something like that. So subscribe to John's channel. It's way more entertaining than watching this progress bar.
Hi, Steve. I said hi to you earlier, sorry. Thanks for stopping by, Steve. Oh, I can't wait to see what kind of video Steve's working on.
You don't want to know.
All right.
Look, you either speed up or this is going to be a way more entertaining video in a few seconds. No problems have been found with this system so far. Do you want to run the remaining memory tests? This will take an estimated 2 hours? But it's like, this will take an estimated time left 2 hours, 5 minutes or more. What a way to say that. Yet, no, we're not going to do that. Thanks. All tests passed. Well, all things must pass, I guess. Let's click OK and get this thing to work. Who wants to do the scan again? No, we're not doing that. I have another SSD here. This is just a small 64 gig SSD that I use for Mac OS installs and stuff, so it's not the fastest, but it's better than nothing. I think it's blank. So we're going to use this for whatever shenanigans we're going to try out on here. Got some goodies in my toolbox here. I have two USB flash drives. One has a Linux boot up disk and one has a Windows boot up disk. They're not labeled, so let's see what we get. I'm going to go with my right hand here. We're going to plug the USB disk into the port. And we're going to turn it on. It fails to boot up. It doesn't even bring you to the BIOS or whatever. It's just like, yeah, we're just going to hang here for no reason. I don't know, this thing is weird. You'll see the Dell screen. I'm going to slam F11. All right, it's still giving me that checksum thing. I don't care. Let's go to the BIOS. Maybe it just really wants a battery in there. I guess that's how it was designed, but wait for it to go into the BIOS. It's the slowest BIOS load up ever. Jeez. System's probably going to be terribly slow. All right, let's go to boot up. We're going to go to legacy boot up. We're going to move the priority to the USB here. Oops, wrong direction. There we go. So USB and then hard drive. Let's save the changes. It says reset. You should really say restart on a BIOS. Save and reset just sounds like, wait, what am I doing? Here we go. All right, so it is Linux. Well, that's good. Let's try or install Ubuntu. How about that? We'll make Sean happy. And who knows, maybe this will run Linux way better than it runs Windows whatever the heck. So we have Ubuntu version 24.04, and it's going to do its little boot up thing, and that'll probably take a while, and we'll just jump cut to when it's nicely installed. Well, we got most of the screws back in, so let's see if it's going to be happy now. We'll take it for a test drive. All right, well, the computer works, but I don't really know much about Linux. Wait, I know from watching that clever Sean fellow, he always does Neo Fetch or something. Oh, that can't be found. I think I'm gonna phone a friend on this.
Can I help you?
Yes, is this the Linux support line?
I'm not really a computer person, but go ahead.
Okay, so I think I flooded it, and I keep putting more USBs in it. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay, oh, thank goodness. All right. So, I learned, no, don't do that, no.
Sorry, what?
So I learned from your videos, the only thing I've learned from your videos is there's a thing called Neo Fetch, right? And I typed that in and it yelled at me, so I'm doing computers right, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, as long as I know I'm doing that correctly, then then you're gonna just continue abusing my poor eMac there?
Yeah, I'm just upgrading it.
Giving it more speed holes?
I'm overclocking it with a drill.
Nice. All right, we're on the frog find, Sean. Is that how I go on Linux?
Yeah, now you're done.
Oh, cool. All right, sweet. So now I could close this, and I could go to the fetching of Neo.
Do sudo apt update.
Okay. And this hoses the computer?
Yep.
All right.
Pushes it right off.
Oh, it's doing
Crud out.
it's doing stuff.
Good.
It got some packages.
Good.
I think one of them is your Mauser package.
Yeah. Damn it.
So what do you do with Linux anyway? I just see you install it and poke it and make computers cry.
That's all I do.
Oh,
I
okay.
install Linux and I put it up on a shelf.
Sounds like a solid plan.
Yeah.
See, now it's working because the penguin's here.
Yeah, I had him fix it while he was on break.
All right, let's see if NeoFetch works now. Oh, look at that. We got a fetch. Uptime 27 minutes. That's the most important data out of all of this. Well, I guess I'm all Linux now.
We should do a contest, a competition, where we each get the worst computer we have, install Linux on it, and then see how long of an uptime we can get.
I have a spare board. It just doesn't have an Ethernet controller on it.
Nice.
You could have the same experience.
We'll mount the boards to the wall with like uninterruptible power supplies, and we'll both start them at the same second. We'll do a competition.
And we're just gonna throw metal objects at it until one of them stops working.
Yeah, well, you're at a disadvantage because you live in New Jersey. Your power grid's terrible.
Hey, when you were over last, you were the one pulling wires out of the circuit breaker.
Well, that was just for fun.
Thank you for teaching me about Linux.
You're welcome. Thank you for the sacrificial eMac.
That's all right. Just give it back in 3 pieces or more.
What?
None of this is making it into the video.
Damn it. This is gold.
No, all of it's making it in. This is like the whole teardown is going to be just deleted. And this is all that we're going to remain in.
Excellent. Well, Google it. It's really easy.
So I just type in Google into the terminal.
Yeah. You do alias Google equals RM space dash RF.
Oh no, wait, I know that one. That's a bad one.
And then when you type Google in, it'll delete everything.
Fool me 3 times, shame on me. Fool me 4 times, shame on you. Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate all your Google foo, and thank Mr. Linux for me as well.
Will do. Anytime. Between the hours of 1 and 1:01.
Okay. I'm glad we didn't go over that minute.
Yeah.
Enjoy your e-waste.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, well, let's see how good this thing plays YouTube. We're at 480p. It's doing okay. Let's pump it up to 4K and watch it cry. That's very appropriate. Oh, yeah, it's not happy. Let's give it a break. Let's just try 1080p. Okay, that seems to be working well. There's no sound in this computer because they wanted to save a few dollars, so I guess a speaker was out of the question. But it seems to work okay. Hey look, it me. and my eMac. I don't trust that man with my eMac, but he gave me free Linux support, so I'm gonna let him have it for a while. I mean, it seems to be working okay. Got a YouTube stream up here. Got ads popping up. Let's go to Documents. Got an empty folder. Let's open some apps. All right, let's try and open this. It's not happy. There we go. So I guess if you want to take your time and not be rushed, you could do 1 or 2 tasks at a time with a computer like this. So the replacement board works, which is great. So let's see if our suspect board will work if we remove that Ethernet chip. Oh man, yeah, you can see the hole where that blew through. And also, ooh, that got quite crispy. Very crispy. Yeah, I think we're going to want to remove that chip before we try and turn this on again, because that's probably shorting something out externally with the carnage by those pins, and internally probably too. Okay, the tweezers are eating into the top, but the chip is still on there solid. I'm not even pushing hard. I was just nudging it. Oh, there it goes. Oh, well, you can see why. There's a big thing of solder there. My goodness. We lost a leg or two in the process, but, you know, I'm just curious if this thing will work at all before I invest any more time into this. I mean, it's a crummy computer anyway, but that is repairable if we really needed to. But like I said, the chip is the same cost as the whole logic board. So is it really worth it? I'm curious if this thing will work without that chip, or if we blew something else up that we just don't see. So the last time this board had power in it, there was smoke coming out of it. So let's plug it in and cross our fingers. Well, we got a light on the board. Oh, the fan spins. Let's see if we get any picture on the screen. So I'm not getting any image on the screen, although it does seem to be like trying to turn on. While it certainly looks like I made the right decision of buying that whole motherboard instead of just that little Ethernet chip, because I must have fried something else in this thing, because I'm not getting any video out of it. Although it is curious, it seems to want to boot and is going through those notions, but I'm just not getting any video on the screen. Well, we fixed it by replacing the whole motherboard. I guess that just goes to show, if you think you see what the problem is, that may not always be the case. I probably shorted out something different here, and I'm glad I didn't go bothering to replace that one small chip, because it likely would not have made a difference. So what am I going to do with this machine? That's a great question. I'd like to know what you would do with such a powerful machine in the comments section. It seems to do okay, but I'm not sure I would throw any important tasks at it. If you enjoyed this weird diversion, click the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. But that's about it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you right here next time on Mac 84. Now, where's the restart button on this thing?